The third episode of The Bad Batch is titled Replacements, and that's what it's all about. Our heroes need to replace parts on their ship, Omega falls into her role as kind of a replacement for Crosshair, and the Empire begins to replace clones with elite soldiers of their own. The main story is pretty straightforward. Now that Omega has solidified herself as part of the crew, everyone involved has to start acting like it, herself included. Their shuttle falls out of hyperspace after sustaining damage escaping Seleucami, so they crash land for repairs. But the piece they need is stolen by an energy-eating creature called an Ordo Moondragon. I love that Tech says something about those creatures after the part is taken, and Hunter calls him out for keeping in vital information to himself until it's too late again. I'm enjoying that running joke. Hunter tracks the creature and brings Omega along after she insists that she pull her own weight. I'm glad none of the clones waffled on that. Even after last week, I could see Hunter wanting to keep her away from danger, but he quickly agrees that teaching her is more beneficial. And of course, she winds up more than proving her worth yet again. Hunter is taken out of the mission, and Omega finishes it on her own, bravely tracking the creature into its lair and cleverly realizing it's not a monster, it's just hungry. In our first live stream breakdown of this series, the guys at Broaxium threw out the idea that Omega's enhancements might be a combination of the entire Bad Batch, and I've gotta say, I'm seeing some possibility for that here. She is able to shoot Crosshair's blaster out of his hands in the premiere, she learns to track like Hunter, she's a quick thinker like Tech. All we need is to see her lift something heavy like Wrecker. I also think all of this could be chalked up to the Force and intuition, but I like the idea of clone enhancements as well. Power in Star Wars doesn't have to be all about the Force. Crosshair comes up a handful of times for the batch this episode, and I liked the developments there. Hunter seemed to be pretty closed off on the topic, and I was worried it was going to lead to him snapping at Omega for attempting to replace their brother, but it didn't. Clone Force 99 has had communication issues in these past few episodes, especially when it comes to Tech, but Omega is pretty quickly able to get Hunter to admit he's not mad at Crosshair, he's mad at himself for leaving one of their own behind. Even if he doesn't fully understand the inhibitor chips, he does seem to get that Crosshair isn't himself, and I love that Omega offers some hope that they can get him back. So let's jump over to Crosshair's side of the story, and I hope future episodes continue to focus on him in this way. He doesn't have to just exist to be a constant threat and villain for the Batch. He's currently a threat and villain for the galaxy. We saw the new character Rampart briefly in Cut and Run, but now he's on Kamino in the flesh to take charge of Project Warmantle. Nice touch, Star Wars. Connect us back with Rogue One in a very simple way that still makes everyone go ooh and ah. It sounds like Warmantle is all about creating a new breed of soldier for the Empire, conscripted troopers who join the Empire out of loyalty and duty who were then trained by the clones. That's very similar to what happened in Legends. Crosshair looks to be training either the first stormtroopers, or I like the theory that's been going around that he and his crew could be the first Death Troopers. This new, supposedly elite squad is sent back to Onderon to wipe out Saw Gerrera, and on the way, one of the soldiers immediately starts questioning Crosshair's leadership and even existence. The dark side manifests in more ways than just the Force. The Sith and the Empire, from the top leadership down to the bottom, is all about looking out for number one. Advance through life and through the ranks by stepping on anyone and everyone. That kind of behavior is even encouraged, and it's why the dark side can ultimately never truly unite. Even if the Empire has a leader and a common goal, its citizens and infrastructure are taught to backstab and cheat to improve their status alone instead of learning to improve things for everyone. But I was surprised that one trooper wound up trying to take command by doing the right thing. He was still trying to exploit an opportunity, but at least he was trying to do so by stopping a war crime. The whole Onderon bit pulled zero punches, and Crosshair's redelivery of the line, "Good soldiers follow orders," after shooting his mutinous subordinate gave me chills. They distilled so much about the Empire and how it operates into a few scenes very effectively. Tarkin and Rampart seemed happy with the elite squad's results, further threatening the Kaminoans and their position within the Empire. Lamasu says they need to produce a superior clone that no conscripted soldier could replace, but it would appear Nala Se needs the Bad Batch, or maybe just Omega, in order to do so. I'm loving this side of the story, and I really do think and hope we're headed towards a Kaminoan uprising. We know whatever experiments they're working on don't play out on a large galactic scale, but still the stakes are raised for Kamino and our heroes, even if they don't know it yet. And speaking of future threats and stakes, let's talk about Wrecker. He hits his head during their crash landing, and then he spends the rest of the episode complaining about it and rubbing it right where his chip is. Tech is also working on a scanner that'll help them all examine their chips and make sure they aren't a danger, but clearly they are. I think we're going to have to deal with a good soldiers follow orders version of Wrecker in the near future, which is terrifying and heartbreaking. He had such a sweet moment with Omega this episode, building a room for her and even giving her his stuffed Tuca. But of course, he's also the strongest and most formidable clone of the bunch. Seeing him lose control of himself is the most gut-wrenching possibility on so many levels. It's basically like seeing Bruce Banner turn into the Hulk when he winds up fighting his friends. But with Tech's scanner, I'm sure he will be healed, and that'll give the batch hope that they can do the same for Crosshair down the line. This was another great episode. It might be my favorite of the 3 so far, but it's hard to compare it to the premiere with its more than double length. I also want to shout out again how good this series looks, and I noticed how many different character models there were. In early seasons of the Clone Wars or Rebels, you would see ways the animation department would basically recycle background characters or Imperial officers, but on Onderon at least, I felt a lot of variety, and it's awesome to see a new animated series getting so many resources in its very first season on Disney+. But that's all I have to say about Replacements. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. Make sure to come back at 6 p.m. Eastern for our live stream breakdown. This week our guests are from the Bombad cast. Until then, please like this video, subscribe to the channel to keep up with all our Bad Batch and Star Wars coverage, follow us on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page where we're doing audio commentaries for all the episodes as they're released. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.